Welcome back everybody. So here we are on lap 36 of the Brazilian Grand Prix here for the Red Arrows F1 League, and currently it's Honey Badger out the front, who's done a fair few laps here on these hard tyres. With 35 laps to go, he's done 23 on them so far. Probably will try and go another 5 or 6 laps I reckon on these, and then stick the another set of hards probably on to the end of the race. Formula C on 4 lap pressure tyres. It's closing the gap a little bit here to Honey Badger. Brad Race is only about 10 seconds off the lead, but obviously does need to pit again because he's on the medium tyres. Has he got the pace to try and chase down these two who are currently 1 and 2 at the moment? Brad on the mediums, but they're going to be wearing out quicker than the front two's tyres, as we see Angry Guns there getting ahead of McCarthy up into 6th place. But Honey Badger here really is doing a phenomenal job out the front. Has got a penalty, which could be handing the initiative here to Formula C slightly. But he's doing a good job at the moment here out the front. Brad is certainly in the fight for the win as well. Still a long way to go here tonight for this race. A full race distance here for the Red Arrows F1 League. It's something they do a couple of times a season. First time they did it this season, I wasn't around, but this time we are covering it in all of its glory, and it's been an exciting race so far. 20 cars started the race, 17 still running. A great turnout and excellent perseverance out there on track here tonight. It's not easy doing a 50% race, I have to say, but doing a full race distance takes a lot of it's an extended period of concentration. Driving these cars, which are very sensitive, require a lot of precision, require a lot of focus. It's not easy to do this for more than an hour without any sort of break or rest. It's an X10 area on the back of Murph as they're coming around the final corner here, about to start lap 39 of the race here. And ZX10 making a move there on Murph into turn 1. The two Alpines swapping places there. 5 lap pressure tyres there for ZX10. I wonder if those two just discussed that whilst they were in a party or in a Discord chat somewhere, and just said, you know what, go on, you go, you've got the pace over me at the moment. You've got Angry Guns here, who's had a really strong race since he had his first lap spin. Qualified poorly, was down near the back on the first lap, and then had that spin which kind of made matters even worse, but since then has really just gritted his teeth and got on with it. Running in P6 at the moment, still has to pit again, having done 13 laps on these medium tyres. We see the Honey Badger. Oh, Honey Badger's had a spin. Honey Badger's lost it there as he was being hunted down by Formula C, and Formula C now leading the race, so that's now switched things up a little bit. Now Brad up into 2nd place. Brad on the medium tyres. He's got Honey Badger and ZX10 all over the back of him at the moment. This has actually brought ZX10 closer to Brad again, because I think Brad got a little bit held up there as he was distracted by the Aston Martin that was trying to recover in front of him. So Brad here's lost a bit of time and has actually dropped down behind Honey Badger there into turn 1, as Honey Badger got the DRS down the straight and gets the position back, but Brad's still right with him here as they come around turn 3 down towards 4 again down this little straight. Brad's got pressure here from ZX10. He'll hold on going into the corner because he's got the DRS on the car in front of him, as we see Angry Guns making a move there on Murph up the inside up into 5th place, and that's another position gained here for Angry Guns on what has been an absolutely phenomenal comeback drive here tonight. It's been really impressive here from Angry Guns, I have to say, and the McLaren team might have something to cheer about here tonight after the devastating elimination of Klen due to Pavlison and himself having a collision there down towards turn 4 a few laps ago. But at the moment, the battle for second is raging on. These guys, because they're battling, it's going to be maybe affecting their ability to try and chase down Formula C, who's got a good gap out the front at the moment of almost 7 seconds. Here they come once again. Brad here with the Slipstream and the DRS, looking to the outside. The championship leader moves up into second place once again here, ahead of Honey Badger. Murph looking to the inside of Angry Guns there into turn 1. Just a little bit too far away at the moment. CJ in the meantime trying to make a move here on Meldav, and it's moved up into 8th place. Lovely move there from the Sauber driver. Andrew Pittsmith here is on the back of Nobby Bootneck. These three, Nobby Bootneck, Andrew Pittsmith and Little Mahin, separated by under a second at the moment as they go into turn 1. But nothing doing between them just there. As Brad has moved back ahead of Honey Badger here, coming through the infield section. But these guys here, battling over second, from second down to 6th, they're all losing time because they're all battling, and it's allowing Formula C to just disappear off into the distance even more. Honey Badger there trying to make a move to the inside of Brad into turn 1. Goes up the inside as we see a bit of a lock up there. Honey Badger has that one done there. Back up into P2 as Brad there a little bit onto the curb. It's now going to allow SLX10 to have a chance here down towards turn 4. Brad's got DRS though, which is going to help him try to pull away here from the Alpine, as we now got CJ trying to get involved in the, sorry, not CJ even, Angry Guns here trying to get involved in the background, sorry. Angry Guns are getting around Brad around the outside of turn 5, and is now potentially going to make this move. Brad on the inside for the next corner, holds on to 4th place just about by the skin of his teeth there. But this battle for 2nd place is really hurting all of these guys' chances of winning the race, because Formula C is just riding off into the sunset here out the front and really enjoying himself, just putting a lap there on the V-carb of Lycorius at the moment. Yes, here come these podium drivers here, Honey Badger and ZX10. ZX10 there using the slipstream to move ahead of Honey Badger. Now Brad is going to follow him through as well in the background here. We got Murph a little bit too far away, and Angry Guns going into turn 1, can't quite make the move there, as Honey Badger and Brad are side by side here on the exit of the centre S's. Here they come. Meldav in the meantime has moved ahead of CJ up into 6th place as they go into turn 1. Nobby Bootneck's still got Andrew Pittsmith with him. Little Mahin's got ahead of both of them on the fresh tyres and has already pulled out nearly 2 seconds. So Little Mahin currently flying at the moment there on those hard tyres. Should be easily good to go to the end as well. So Little Mahin could be on for some very strong points here tonight, with the drivers ahead due to make another pit stop. But ZX10 are currently 7 seconds behind. Formula C has now just broken away a little bit from Honey Badger and Brad at this point. And ZX10, to be fair, can also go to the end of the race here. I'm not quite sure how this is manifested in this way, but ZX10 has been played into this race, an absolute treat here. But obviously Formula C, when he makes his final stop, will have an advantage. Or is Formula C going to try and go to the end here? That's a possibility. Although probably quite an unlikely one. But Angry Guns nonetheless has moved ahead of Brad up into 3rd place here as they come through turn 4 and 5. So Angry Guns now into the podium places, and this comeback drive continues to really surprise us here, how he's managed to do this so far. Obviously was down at the back of the pack on at the end of the first lap, but finds himself now in 3rd place. ZX10 though in a really strong position here to win this race, only 6 seconds behind the leader, with better tyres at this stage in the race as well. Formula C has surely got to come in again, but not this lap. It's Brad there making the move up the inside of Angry Guns, back up into the podium places once again. Angry Guns though with a good run down towards turn 4 once again, and getting position straight back off of him there as they came down towards the corner, so that was an easy return move there for the McLaren driver. Murph at the rear of this trio with a penalty, unlike the other two who have both kept their noses pretty clean here so far in this one. Gap at the front staying around the same now. Formula C has managed to pick up the pace a little bit, was coming under a lot of pressure from a ZX-10 a few laps ago, but now is just starting to lift the tempo a little bit. There is Formula C, there is ZX-10 running in P2 at the moment, 2.5 seconds clear of Angry Guns, who sits in P3 ahead of Brad, who's trying to hunt him down here. Here comes Brad then with DRS looking to the inside, and that's going to be P3 here for Brad for the time being. Always grinding there with a 3-second penalty for track limits at the moment. Formula C still leading out the front by 6 seconds as Angry Guns there getting up into 3rd place there ahead of Brad once again. As McCarthy here moving ahead of Lumby Bootneck up into P10. Andrew Pittsmith here is in the pits at the end of lap 45, putting what I would thought would be a set of mediums probably. Yep. Medium tyres do appear to be the best tyre for sort of medium length stints. I mean, that's not really a statement that I felt like it was going to be at all, to be perfectly honest with you. That sounded like sounded like I was saying, so in my head it sounded like that was going to come out brilliant, and then after I just heard it sort of in my head after I'd said it, it was like, hold on a second, I've just said the medium tyre is good for medium length stints. I mean, no shit, mate. Anyway, apologies for that, but ZX-10 is still bringing the gap down to Formula C at the moment. 5.5 seconds the gap. Can Formula C go to the end if he can? Can he hold on to P1? Because with ZX-10 closing a few tenths per lap at the moment. But is it going to be enough to overhaul and pass the race leader at this point? Formula C would have to do 55 laps on a set of hard tyres if he were to get to the end of the race. I reckon he's going to have to stop again. ZX-10 would have to do, to be fair, 40 laps altogether if he had to get to the end of the race from here. That would be no mean feat. Obviously it's a 100% race, so the tyre wear is half of what you see in a 50% race. I mean, 20 laps is tough on a set of hard tyres. It's doable, but it's not easy. So 40 laps you would think could be possible for ZX-10, but surely it's going to be borderline here. Could be a risky strategy. And imagine getting to the final lap of a 71 lap race and then your tyres give up. I mean, that would just be insanely frustrating. But Brad has made the move on Angry Guns here up into 3rd place into turn 1. That is job done there for him. We've got Honey Badger breezing past CJ there up into P6 on his fresh medium tyres. Now what sort of pace has Honey Badger got? Because fresh medium tyres could start to chase after the leaders here. Could be getting an undercut as well. Obviously was leading the race for a long time, but then had that spin which dropped him down the order quite a lot. But he's only about 20 seconds off of the lead, so about 22-23 seconds off of the lead at the moment. It's Honey Badger, so could be within a pit stop of Formula C if Formula C has to come into the pits, which we definitely know he does have to. ZX-10 on 13 lap older tyres than Formula C, currently 18 seconds ahead there in P2 with 23 laps left to go yet. So yeah, it'd be tough for Honey Badger to catch to ZX-10. who we don't think needs to pit again, although he might want to if he wants to play it safe. As Brad here looking to the inside of Angry Guns into turn one. Once again there, these two swapping positions. Brad put his mediums on a while ago. He's going to definitely need to come into the pits again. There's a little Matt in there moving ahead of Meldab up into P8 as they're coming down the start finish straight. That's a good move there for little Mahim. We got to Super Calgon, also pretty close here on SLH. Well, these guys got a bit under the radar right now, but Super Calgon here will have DRS. So I was saying that, looking like he's been absolutely left for dead through that part of the track. Had no pace coming up the hill, bit of DRS, but seemingly has got that car way too much downforce. It's got no pace down the straight despite the DRS. Couldn't get anywhere near. What sort of pace has Super Calgon got down here? Yeah, SLH is just absolutely blasting off into the distance as they came out onto that little straight there down towards turn 4, and Super Calgon not even close, not even nearly close enough to be putting him under any real pressure at this point. Angry Guns in the meantime, it's got another run on Brad Races as they come around the final corner, and it's going to move up into third place pretty easily there as they start lap 50 of the race. Murph now well on the back of these two as well in that fight for all the podium places. You can see there how close Super Calgon is through the corners, but then on the straights SLH absolutely blasts off, and Super Calgon, to be fair, doesn't get a great run over that curb, but he's a little bit closer this time, might have a bit more of a chance. You see as they round that bend, the Ferrari just loses absolutely heaps of time going through that part of the track, and it has nothing. It has no answer whatsoever to the Haas as they go through that little section there. The handling looks absolutely atrocious through around that final bend over that curb. But Super Calgon here getting a bit closer here, coming down towards turn 4 again with a bit of DRS, and is then going to ace this infield section as we've seen on previous laps. But SLH has just got such a better drive out of that final corner. It's absolutely ridiculous. As ZX10 are now only 2 seconds behind Formula C in this battle for the lead of the race. Angry Guns and Brad into the pits for their final stops of the race here. They're going to come out behind Honey Badger. Formula C has got to pit again. ZX10 can go to the end. His tyres are going to be shot to pieces by the end. He'll probably be leading, and he will be being hunted down in the final few laps of the race. But ZX10 I reckon is going to take the leader from Formula C pretty shortly, because Formula C's got to come in for what I would imagine will probably be soft tyres at this point, because he's gone a fair way through this middle stint. And I would have thought he'd have come in a few laps ago if he was planning on running the mediums to the end. So I reckon it's quite likely that Formula C is going to put the softs on, unless of course he's losing more time to the ZX10 than what he accounted for, in which case he might go for the medium tyres for the final 20 laps and dive in now, because you can see that Alpine is within a second here. What does Formula C do? Into the pits comes the race leader with 20 laps left in this 71 lap Brazilian Grand Prix here tonight at the Red Arrows Formula 1 League. Formula C is going to stop in that Kick Sauber team box, and let's see what tyres goes on. I reckon it's going to be medium tyres for Formula C, too far out for the softs to be optimised. No, it is the softs there. So Formula C there off and away again. Surprised to see that one, I'll tell you. So we've got ZX10 out in front leading the race, Murph in second place, Honey Badger there third on the fresh medium tyres. Well, they're not that fresh anymore, they've done 8 laps now, but Honey Badger's going to be reeling these guys in. So the gap between ZX10 and Honey Badger, 14 seconds, with 20 laps, best part of 20 laps left here in this race, 19 and a half now. So Honey Badger will need to get about 8/10 a lap on average with 13 lap pressure tyres, albeit the medium tyres, which we know obviously are not as long lasting as the hard tyres, but Honey Badger's tyres should still be quicker than ZX10's all the way to the end of the race, because he'll have to do 28 laps on his. ZX10 will have to do 41 on his hard, so they'll be pretty even by the last lap. Their tyres will be in a very, very similar shape by the end, but in the intervening laps Honey Badger's going to have probably the better tyres for most of this race for the remainder. So it's going to be an exciting finish, although Honey Badger with a penalty. Murph surely is going to not have too much of an answer here for ZX10 because he's got 5 lap older tyres, currently running 9 seconds behind him. Honey Badger should not have too many problems once he arrives on the back of Murph, but Formula C here on these fresh soft tyres. Question is, can he keep these soft tyres in a good operating window all the way to the checkered flag here? If he can, then he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the final couple of laps here. As we see SLH here into the pits, getting those soft tyres off after a 25 lap stint on them, which is pretty good going, I have to say, for the Haas driver. His teammate moving up into P13 with him coming into the pits as SLH puts another set of soft tyres on, and it should be good to go to the flag from here. Always grinding. Lycorius and Super Calgon there making their way through ahead of him. And Super Calgon on the back of Lycorius. Lycorius on those 12 lap old hard tyres. Super Calgon on the fresh softs. Shouldn't find too much of an issue here negotiating him. I got Murph into the pits now at the end of lap 53, getting those hard tyres off, which is, I don't think he needed to, but maybe he feels it's a bit quicker to do so. Brad here getting ahead now of CJ down the start finish straight. Obviously Brad with those fresh soft tyres. CJ's been on those hards now for some time. I wonder if CJ's going to try and go to the end on those. Done 29 laps on them already. Would have to do altogether 47 to get to the end. I don't think that's going to be possible, but Brad here looking to the inside of Little Mahin and moves ahead up into 4th place now. Little Mahin's probably going to go to the end on those hard tyres, I would have thought, but he'll be a sitting duck for some of these guys who have pitted towards the end of the race. Brad though up into 4th place for the time being. He's only 8 seconds behind Formula C. Brad about 22 seconds off for the lead at the moment, but he's going to have much better tyres to the flag here than the likes of ZX10 and Honey Badger. So they're all going to be closing in on each other in these last few laps of the race. Honey Badger still gaining on ZX10, but I don't think he's gaining by enough. He's only gaining about half a second a lap at the moment, and that's not going to be enough for him to win the race. Plus that advantage is going to start to drop away the further we get into this race because the medium tyres wear out quicker than the hard. So that half a second a lap advantage at the moment will probably be pretty much dead even by the time we get to the final lap of the race. So I reckon Honey Badger might fall short here tonight unless he can find something from somewhere, but Formula C already on the back of him, to be fair. Formula C's tyres though will be absolutely done by the end of this race. You have to do 20 laps on them all together. Brad and Angry Guns will have to do 19 on theirs. They're a little way behind, not massively behind though. They're certainly in this fight. In fact, Brad and Angry Guns actually put their tyres on a lap earlier than Formula C did, so they're actually going to probably have a disadvantage here. I reckon Formula C should be clear of those guys by the end of the race, but Formula C making the move on Honey Badger up into 2nd place now. He's got 12.5 seconds up the road to ZX10, but can he keep these soft tyres in good condition all the way to the end? If he can, he's surely going to have this one, but it's a big if. It's a big if. There's Honey Badger now looking to try and make a move back on Formula C there to the inside into turn 4. Formula C though with a good run on the outside there. He's still side by side though as Honey Badger's trying to his absolute damnedest here to make this move, and into turn 5 he's got that move done there as Honey Badger back up into P2. Good move there from Honey Badger, not giving up in that one. Formula C he's going to have to try again here, and obviously now he's going to be losing more time to the race leader ZX10 whilst he battles here with Honey Badger. It's only going to be derailing his hopes of trying to close that gap out the front. See, the gap between ZX10 and Honey Badger came down by about a second on that last lap, so Honey Badger chipping away now. Although battling with Formula C might just give ZX10 a bit of a reprieve here. Formula C's back ahead of Honey Badger here into turn 1. Now needs to try and pull a gap here through these corners So to make sure he's far enough ahead to do DRS, but he's not done so. Honey Badger's going to get another crack at it. I think he might be just a little bit too far back here. And that's going to give Formula C P2 for the time being. As McCarthy's moved ahead of CJ up into P7 as well. As always, grinding here is closed up onto the back of Lycorius here in this fight for 14th place. Super Calgon here right on the back of always grinding as well. Brad has got a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. And that must have been an absolute mammoth corner cut there to get a 10-second penalty. Andrew Pittsmith has got a 3-second penalty now for track limits. But I think that is the nail in Brad's chances of getting on the podium here tonight, I have to say. But the battle for the win still on, because Formula C's chasing ZX10 down. He's also now got out of DRS range to Honey Badger, which is going to give him a little bit of respite here. So now Formula C can well and truly focus on chasing after the race leader. There's the gap just over 10 seconds, but Honey Badger, if he can stay close, will probably have a chance to come back at Formula C later on in the race, in the closing laps, because he'll have the more preferable tyres in the last couple of laps of the race, probably. But it will only be in the last sort of 3 or 4 laps that Honey Badger will have that tyre advantage. So before that, Formula C will be increasing the gap bit by bit, and they'll probably go for a little phase, probably in about 7 or 8 laps time, where they'll be pretty even. But if Honey Badger's not too far away, he might be able to have a crack at Formula C, and potentially even ZX10 if they're both still closing in on the leader towards the end of the race. This could still be a 3-way battle here for the lead and for the win here tonight at Interlagos. But 13 laps left to go here for this one. It's still ZX10 out the front with a gap just under 10 seconds over Formula C. Been an exciting Brazilian Grand Prix here tonight. We've got angry guns all over Brad as they come through the centre S's. Brad, though, has got a great run through that part of the track, and he's extended the gap a little bit. Angry guns, though, we know he's got incredible straight line speed, but not incredible enough there. And actually Brad, to be fair, has got pretty good straight line speed as well as they came through into the corner. Lycorius has managed to extend the gap a little bit to always grinding with the medium tyres. They're going to be starting to fill the pace a little bit now. Super Calgon here attacking on always grinding here as they come down towards turn 1. But always grinding and Super Calgon both have much better straight line speed than Lycorius. Didn't look like always grinding had the DRS through that first zone. We'll probably have it through the second one. We're just going to allow him to just get that a little bit closer once again here into turn 4. Super Calgon too far away, and obviously with always grinding had DRS on the V-carb ahead, it's going to be preventing Super Calgon from really putting him under any pressure in that part of the track. SLH also joining this fight here for 14th place here in the closing part of this race. ZX10 with just over 11 laps left to go here in this race. His gap currently 9 seconds over Formula C. Formula C continue to extend the gap over Honey Badger. So I think unless Formula C makes a mistake, I think Honey Badger probably out of this fight with him. Formula C is now going to try and chase down ZX10, and this is going to be the fight for the win here between the Alpine driver and the Sauber driver here tonight. It's going to be one of these two, I think. But which one is it going to be? That's what we're going to find out over the next 11 laps here of this Interlagos track here in Brazil. We've got Brad Races still over the back of Angry Guns here as they're coming through Youngshell once again. As they come over the line here to complete lap 60 of the race. He's getting a lot closer. Brad there with that straight line speed is absolutely insane there. The overspeed that he had going into turn 1, and he makes him up the inside there of Angry Guns. Angry Guns could do absolutely nothing about it. Brad there back up into 4th place here. Gap at the front between ZX10 and Formula C, 8.5 seconds now. McCarthy's moved ahead of Middle Mahin up into P6. That is done there, 4th position. As we get into the last sort of 5 laps of the race, we could be seeing a crossover in performance between ZX10's tyres and Formula C's tyres. Generally, the hard tyres go about between 2 and 2.5 times the distance of a soft tyre. So by the time we get to about lap 67, Formula C's would have done 15 laps, ZX10's would have done 36. So beyond that point, potentially, we could see that the tyres will be pretty even. At the moment, Formula C is still closing the gap, but ZX10 has got enough of a gap here. And the delta that Formula C is going to have at this point is going to be withering more and more. He's still gaining, there's no doubt about that, but the amount he's gaining by is not going to be enough at this point because the soft tyres wear out so quickly. ZX10 are still going on those hard tyres. It's going to be really hard for Formula C to close this gap. Is he going to do it? McCarthy there with a 3-second penalty for multiple track limit warnings, as we've got now 9 laps left to go here at Brazil. Brad races all over the back of Angry Guns here as they come through the final braking zone, up the hill once again. And Brad is most likely going to make this move here down towards turn 1 again. As here he comes, getting closer and closer. To the inside goes Brad and into 4th place, and that is a job well done there from the Mercedes driver. Murph also on the back of CJ here as they're battling over 8th and 9th places. As here he goes, Murph there on the inside of CJ up into 8th place without any major issue there. CJ pushing this one on 38 laps so far on those hard tyres. They're going to be completely and utterly done by the end of this race. Can he get them another 9 laps? He'd have to do 47 laps altogether to get those to the end. He's currently got 7 seconds back to Moldav. He's 10 seconds ahead of Andrew Pittsmith, so CJ could yet be in the top 10 if he can hold on to those hard tyres until the checkered flag here. But they're going to be absolutely shot to pieces by the final lap of the race. ZX10 in the meantime over the line. Formula C gained another 6/10 on that last lap. 6/10 though is not enough, and that 6/10 is going to become 5/10, then it's become 4/10, and then by the end of the race the tyres are going to be pretty much even in terms of lap time. So I think Formula C is going to come up short here if my calculations in my head are correct, and unless ZX10 makes a mistake on those very worn out hard tyres, which is possible. But Angry Guns in the meantime has moved back ahead of Brad up into 4th place as they went through turn 1. SLH still just ahead of Always Grinding and Super Calgon at the moment in that fight for P6, 15, 16 and 17. Formula C still gaining at the moment on ZX10, but is it too little too late here? He'll have a chance to close the gap a little bit here to Brad tonight, but Brad is I think tantalisingly close to the title at this point. Formula C a bit of a slide there as he came out of the corner, but around we come. So 7 laps left now here in this one. Brad in the meantime is still on the back of Angry Guns, and we know what Brad's straight line speed is like. It's even quicker than Angry Guns is. So here we come then down the straight. Is he going to get there a bit too late? I think he might do, just a little bit too late, and he's going to have to wait until turn 4 to make this move for P4. And again, I think he's just a bit too far back. Angry Gun's got a good drive there out of that corner, and is way far enough ahead here to hold on to 4th place at the moment. So Brad is going to have to continue to wait for that one. In the meantime, we've got the Hasses here SLH, I think, has just got ahead of M. Harry. M. Harry, though, still close on the hard tyres. Yes, M. Harry can have a chance to make this move down towards turn 1 with a bit of DRS and slipstream. He's got always grinding here. He seems to have got a fantastic run here coming down the straight. He's a little bit too far back to send it there into turn 1. So he's got a holding position for the time being. And for the first time in quite a while, ZX10 has just gone quicker than Formula C. 0.3 quicker he was on that last lap. So now starting to respond a little bit. Has Formula C's tyres just started now to give it up a little bit. I said before that generally the hards go about 2.5 times the distance of the softs. They're currently at that point now where they are that age in comparison. So maybe now we're starting to see the crossover in performance, and maybe now we might see Formula C just start to drop off the pace a little bit here. It's been gaining lap after lap since the last 14 laps since he put those soft tyres on, but now potentially that's starting to wither out a little bit. Brad there and Angry Guns still fighting out over 4th and 5th places at the moment. That looks like that one's set to go down to the final lap here. Brad obviously with that 10-second penalty, which is going to really hurt him, could potentially drop him down to P6. Although Little Mahin has got a 3-second penalty of his own, so at the moment he'll only lose 1 position to Angry Guns. As always, Grinding has left the session. I think that must be a disconnection because he's still racing there. He's still on the back of Super Calgon at the moment. But ZX10 are currently still holding the lead with 5 laps left to go. We're closing stages of the Brazilian Grand Prix here at the Red Arrows F1 League tonight. We've got Angry Guns there moving back ahead of Brad up into 4th place. But ZX10 are on the verge tonight of taking a very impressive win in this 100% race distance mystery track, which was revealed earlier today. No one knew what it was going to be until last minute. So it's a bit of a surprise for everyone, but ZX10 are currently doing a phenomenal job here tonight, leading the race by 6 seconds. And at this point now, it looks like Formula C's soft tyres have just started to give up the ghost a little bit here. Honey Badger 4 seconds behind, and with a 3-second penalty, Formula C should be okay here for 2nd place, as long as he doesn't make a mistake. Honey Badger, we know he's got a mistake in him, but he's got 9 seconds back to Angry Guns. Doesn't need to push, doesn't need to panic. He's on course for a podium at the moment, as long as he holds it together here. Brad once again, he's got the run on Angry Guns. He's just a little bit too far back here, going down towards turn 1 again. Can he keep excited going through the centre S's? If he can, then he might have a chance into turn 4. He's managed to stay pretty close, but Angry Guns with a slightly better run there out onto the straight, and Brad is just still a little bit too far back at the moment for the time being. Super Calgon closing up onto the back of M. Harry. M. Harry has dropped out of that fight a little bit with SLH at this point. Super Calgon's going to fancy a chance here into turn 1. Gap at the front between ZX10 and Formula C's come down a little bit more on this lap. Formula C's gained about half a second on this time around, so seemingly has got a little bit more fire under his belly here on lap 68 of the race. Super Calgon too far back on M. Harry into turn 1 for the time being, as ZX10 starts lap 69 of the race. Gap just under 6 seconds to Formula C. Formula C's closed the gap on this time around, but he's not closing it by anywhere near the amount that he needs to get the win. There's Honey Badger running in the final podium place. Angry Guns and Brad still going at it for 4th and 5th places at the moment as they're coming over the line. And Brad there looking to the outside into turn 1, but locks up there as he has to try and avoid running into the back of Angry Guns. Angry Guns, you've got to say, a fantastic comeback drive tonight, considering the fact that he had that spin on the opening lap of the race and was down at the back, was nowhere near anybody. What could have been for Angry Guns tonight if it hadn't have been for that. Could have easily been a podium, maybe even better, but we'll never know, unfortunately. Oh, could have been for his teammate as well, Glenn, who was obviously in that fight for the lead when Pavlison hit him and put him in the wall going into turn 4. But ZX10 are coming around to start the penultimate lap here. 2 laps left to go for the Brazilian Grand Prix here tonight for the Red Arrows Formula 1 League. Bit of a lock up there from the race leader, but he's extended his gap back to Formula C by about 2/10 on that last lap, so has responded again here on these hard tyres, which he's been on for now for, well, I think this is his 40th lap on these. It'll be 41 laps on the next time around, and he's just got to nurse these around. He's just got to take it easy and not take too many risks here, and he should be okay to get these to the flag. But it's been a fantastic drive from ZX10er. Played it into the strategy in a very low-key manner here tonight. Did a long stint on the medium tyres in the first stint, and has one-stopped it brilliantly here tonight, and is looking like he's going to be a deserved winner at the moment. But we're still about 3 miles away from the checkered flag here, as we've got Brad still on the back of Angry Guns here in the fight for 4th and 5th places. But obviously we know that Brad will lose that even if he gets ahead on the track, because he's got that 10-second penalty, as these guys are just putting a lap there on the Red Bull. Of always grinding there. It's Brad here once again with DRS, is going to make the move to the outside of Angry Guns, up into 4th place once again here into turn 1. Does that around the outside beautifully there, does Brad. M. Harry has been passed by Super Calgon. So Super Calgon here up into 15th place on what is the penultimate lap for them. Race leader though, coming around halfway around the last lap here. And ZX10er found himself out in front here towards the end of the race. It was going to be a risky strategy here, trying to do 41 laps on a set of tyres, but he's got a 6-second gap at the moment. Even if these tyres were to go now, he'd be okay, he'd be able to get it to the flag. He didn't need any luck here tonight. He played it absolutely brilliantly with the strategy. The ZX10er has made these tyres last 41 laps, an incredible feat of tyre conservation. Here he comes then, the Alpine driver up towards the line to win the full race distance Brazilian Grand Prix here at the Red Arrows Formula 1 League. Congratulations to ZX10er. What an absolutely brilliant drive there from him. Formula C takes 2nd with Honey Badger over to complete the podium, as Brad is going to come round to take 4th place on the track, but he's going to lose it on the penalties there. So Angry Guns 4th, Brad over in 5th. Little Mahin coming around the final corner now is going to just hold on from McCarthy for 6th on the track, and also on the classification there with McCarthy 7th. Murph over in 8th place here, a few seconds ahead of CJ, who's going to finish in P9, having done 47 laps on those hard tyres. What an incredible job there from CJ. Meldav over in P10 ahead of Andrew Pittsmith, who is 11th. Nobby Bootneck in the end gets 11th on the penalties there, with Andrew 12th. Lycorius over in 13th place. SLH coming through the final corner here is going to be 14th place in the end. A few seconds clear of the battle between M. Harry and Super Calgon, and M. Harry's got back ahead of Super Calgon on this last lap, so P15 for him. Super Calgon 16th and always grinding. Finished the lap down there in 17th place, but that is that then for the race. It's ZX10er who is the race winner tonight for the Brazilian Grand Prix. What a drive there from ZX10er. Did brilliantly there to keep the performance in those tyres, and in those last few laps was actually quicker than Formula C on those soft tyres. Those soft tyres were starting to burn up towards the end, but nonetheless a fantastic job there from ZX10er tonight, and thanks to the drivers for making that an absolutely brilliant watch as well. Brilliantly done from all the guys to get that 71 laps. I think 17 finishes in the end. That is absolutely brilliant stuff. Fantastic from the Red Arrows lads, and looking forward to the next race as always. Cheers guys, and we will see you all very, very soon for it.